Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa ta'ala wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Mon mele alam ko wala be in program o jibela abannin kola la. Assalamu alaikum to all the people mele alam ko they're going to see this program. Anal badim malem Silvo Sonko aka Bayo Sonko Gambia. Bifana na da kal konto ka pali ko uh, happy Sunday to everyone. Na da kal konto dimasilu nyimala ka pali ko um, bifana mulun doleti na tarikol kono bane biyo lumen be ko bi dimaso o tambitare o nimbo na bilo be tambila be bula tene wala kon dimas dole mi la bi dimaso o be tambila bane mulu bi lafta pulus de kacha sen na meya lonko na bankola kola but lafta men fola wala nyindi ko be kachala. But one thing is very important. One thing is very important na kacha kono be meomen kachala ay ke tonyat be meomen kachala misala tonya kan hak. Don't steal, don't lie, jobbery. Be meomen kachala msa kacha misala tonya kan kacha mambalang bar kacha yake abin tonya kan bara Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mole masabalem masame ya lonko alafta tonya lala wala tinna ko ani badiwo na tonyero ke afai tonyero lake ne atara badiwo lafta ka fasal ako na tonyero ke afai tonyero lake wala mu muslima ya jiko muslimo nyanta kama wala nyama bare ana tarafon imanke muslimoti imu dina doleti o dinol fanan men koyta ma wala nyindu ko ifanan kala nyinala ko ibe kuku kala yake anin tonyala bare ko adamadu men fana yalon ko ite lata tonyala adamadu men yalon ko alata tonyala wa adamadu fana da silan sotola o silal adamadu men yalon ko ite lata tonyala wa adamadu woni wona da silala katun mole me yalon ko ala kola ala la yamaro laka ala la yamaro ala wala jomman sembe soto jomman fen soto ala man men dila jongoy fen soto akan allon ko ube kala ala di fon le allon ko ube kala ala di fon le oto bi nabi kacha is about the current issues. It's about kol mel yalon ko adama dingulu lafta kay kaloy kan puru la kunna kilin nafa bare bimbe be bula la ñoto na kacha folo be kelemen wala mu the secretary the wala mu minister of presidential affairs those are called the chief of staff men kada modu sise la diamoti in QTV sorry in iAfrica modu sise la diamu ay Africa wax boobu noonu il faut ñu wax ko in fact wax bi nag dinaa ko wax ci olof because Momodou Cissé dafa wax ci olof and then dafa xam ne lu tax Momodou Cissé mu wax loolu kalma boobu noonu lu tax mu dëgër ko dafa am lu tax mu dëgër kalma boobu noonu ba Momodou Cissé yow max bu mel ni yow max bu toll yow place boo téye yow nga ñemee toog ci télévision wax boo xam ne amut allahu akbar yow nga ñemee toog ci télévision nga def nga wax boo xam ne amut loo ko fen ba because of yow place rek yow because of yow place boo nekk place boobu nga nekk di si ci yow ragaluloo ne yowmal qiyaamati yàlla dina la laaj yow yaa wax lii kan la kii wax loolu bon yow ragaluloo yàlla because of yow place rek nga bugg a téye ragaluloo yàlla nga toog ci télévision di fen nga toog ci télévision di wax ay wax yoo xam ne amut yow Momodou Cissé yow Momodou Cissé yow suma kodo la nag man loolu moom kay yëpp xam naa ne yow suma kodo la dama la respect moo nekk suñu diggante ba dëgg su ñëwee il faut ma wax la ko loo wax Afrique ne yow nga ne Boru Touré moo wax ne képp kon ne booguloo UDP yow doomu alam nga yow kaddu boobu noonu fan nga ko dégga kan nga dégga kaddu boobu noonu si jëme Boru Touré yow ragal yow ne bés yowmal kiyaamati yàlla dina oo yow ak Boru Touré mu jëf judgment seen diggante ite keɓa bakatawo because of palaso loya tinna ite hañita ka si télévision o to ka kawla loya Boru Touré la ka kawla moola ɓe ya lonko amma même fo because of ite lefta palaso to la because of you want to secure your position ite hañita ka lo télévision o to ka kawla wonti dingola kuma kama ɓe ya mafo wala tinna Gambiyankolu mbaɗi Gambiyankolu ɓe politique kono to ñaalem ɓe politique kono baren sen hakkilotu baake katum nim molle ɓe politique kono men yaalon ko wolumol feññe to place o doron oto nimɓe o politique sifa kono sen hakkilotu baake loya Boru Touré la kuma kaw mbeyo moyle and then to my surprise the police the IGP Sidi Muktar Touré ide keɓa ba ide lungume yaalon koye place o dila yembina fo lungume yaalon koye place o dila walatna Gambia dewlum ko ntol buka boye mo kan ntol buka mo toñe bari momoron ding ila taran silo me yafo molen ka bule ka wolala bari ning ila taran silo ni eman silo ta wotumolen be fintila ke against your own word yes Sidi Muktar Touré lume ya lonko the IGP lume ya lonko binim palaso kakan as the IGP lume ila press conference yen mina for no journalist ole what was the statement here meant for no journalist ole but there is going to be a special program Bill Finance Land. I just need to get my materials. Nana bagasul be seto. Atul be killing na la audio be play la ne feeling. Kabin press na kuma kamolemba. More system kuma kamolemba. Momo me ya longo ida system mo kono. Be la kuma kawonyi sama nang. Ka play ka fwe itla ngani movement buka banko dul feeling di. Ka tandi mola ko itla lo kaw movement ni banko kan. Bo be kandila. Nabo alba bi iznillah. Sidi Muktar itala Sidi Muktar Touré itala lota iko nyim palaso me ya lonko itabe nyim palaso me mutaka ikana nyim palaso me muta itala ko tama ko itala ko iko nyim palaso nyin itaba me solere be plin na banko dungule itaba make sure ko you'll be loyal ida tara clean banko dungul dam maltim itala wallahi suma wala tamam itala eko there will be no selective justice iko fisamante yata karlaje yejun motan do fitan la do itala yafu demafu this is your own word anu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be kidin dañu nale wallahi sidi bise kodo soto ni IGP yaado ise maka mo soto ni IGP yaado ise farman ni IGP yaado ise tama ni IGP yakono ise kuma ya ni IGP yakono but wallahi summa wallahi akhi yawm al-qiyamah ni atale ka salle ka sum yawm al-qiyamah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be kidin dañu kuma kamo fanan kanne ye même fo kabri ka pala so ta anu ila tan akabara men dol be clean na la got ala den be clean na aben nyilin kala na lahido menta kabrin ka palaso mara ala ben nyilin kala be ane mbara minala kabrin palaso nyin ditan mbara minala ala ben nyilin kala be la ila yawm al-qiyamah ina sidi muktar ite yo même fo Gambia dungul polisol be siri ita makam malu nyinna polisol be siri polisol mi yalo ko wolle be te duma ita sida wol nyaado Gambia be nyaado ye kuma kawfo e man na bara kuma kaw nyinna ita nyanda kam muro how can you go back to that society, the society you promise or you are going to be a just person ita bakila mo clean wole how can you go back to that society? How can you go back to that society? Society me ya longo ye lahidi menna ye kuma kawo men foye ye kal Qur'an wala menna foye je palaso me ya longo ya jila as IGP of the Gambia Police Force ko be cleanna ida do ko kala Gambia no le ida do ko kala mo kum cleanna bi ida sit mutara toure tumala me ya longo be do ko ke kam mo cleanna mem Adama Baroti bi ida sit mutara toure bi ni sida ida mai ala tema ke mina minala jongul me ya longo ye kuma foye me ya longo am rege tonya ye kuma kama fo belie kuma kama me ya longo da barala par sidi mutala toure bi o police dindingol me ya longo be sidi nyak longol be diamula be tele la bi de sidi mutala toure bi ita ka wol nyakono jibe nyaadile ita ni wol ka nyo nyakono jibe nyaadile bayitele yafo dema ite lako ite klina Gambian ko ol tema ite lako dema fo de Sidi Mutar to it, you are going to be very loyal to the Gambian people. It was said by you. You will be an inspector general of differences. But today you are the worst inspector general of police. How do you go back to the society? How do you face your people in Pirang? How do you go back to the community? How do you face the people you promised or you are going to be a just policeman? B, how do you see yourself within your community? How do you see yourself? Nita mo police kono police dinno meli alongo ilo ta nyato yakuma ka fo mantana barakala B ta ka wol face nyadile. This is your own word, Sidi Mutar. This is your own word. These are not my words, wallah. You know, man can kuma kawat, you mutla kuma kawat. So more today, e hayi sa ilo ta mulnyado, ye bor la kuma kawata e ko ka falinne. But wallahi même muto ya dige wala nyindi ko atule bor la kuma kaw al yalonde kuma kaw me ya diminje al yolonde. Kuma kaw me ya diminje al yolonde kadu borye même fo. Ibani isafu no ko morally you should say you could have said it different way. Morally. That's quite true. Asafono nyado nyamale. But piyata na wallahi suma wallahi jumaya de balanda jumaya de sonna nyina dunya ko le kafu mokalo aka foyo ko ndele ba fudu de bat wallahi mo ba man fudu mo bati in dunya ko no jam momo jigina ko ite ba frutal because momo jigina ko momo ni lonna ko ibama ay kono waya for almost 9 months non 7 months. Imagine that difficulty. Anu momo kanyina dua na bo baken do bala. So kafoko I mean kade bama futun tol bad. Come on. You could have said it different way, fine, if you were softly, but I don't know for money account what the problem was. Money account is not a problem. I'm not getting do it. I'm not getting do it. So what is the incitement of violence in that statement? But more than that, a proper incitement of violence. Then basaba lote ako. Momo ko the president yung baro jele jang. Akong ba jele ko yelo ibon nimbang ko kanya. That is what is called incitement of violence. Me along ko. Ako na mo lang president wala. Ba jele yelo ibon nimbang ko kanya. We maintain di wala nyundo ko. We alam mo maintain di wala nyundo ko. Ita IGP Sidi Muta Toure. You should get ready. Kaya ko. Those kind of people need to be arrested. But iman dem basabal arrest. Sidin Lota, ay wuliyapo, ay paniyapo, mufen, mudul. Si kanam Peter Gomez. Sidin lalawa. Sidin lalawa. Mune, UDP dafa ay nit ñu am na ñu am ay petel. Ay petel. Di trading ay nit ci dëkk bi fii ni. Dumale na kaw jënd Gambia ko la jàpp. That was an incitement of violence. That was an incitement of violence. But you care less about that because in a position of you think you will be the inspector general of police forever in this country? It ain't whatever. It ain't a mirror nung comment. It ain't the inspector general of police in Bango for Ilayo Midin. It ain't whatever. But see, it may mirror you were in somewhere else as the director general of immigration. Imadaw palaso to nyame ina ka IGP nyame bebo ni IGP palaso ko to wala nyama. O to nyanda kanyim palaso make sure you serve the interest of the Gambian people. Serve the interest of the Gambian people. And always remember you are going to leave this position one day. Ibn palaso bulal. Ibn palaso bulal. But after all the promises you've given to Gambian people, now you care less about the pledge or the promise you've given to those people. You care less about that because you only care about the position. How are you going to stay in that position? When are we going to be realistic to ourselves? When are we going to make sure we fulfill our promise? We fulfill the promise we've given to our people. When are we going to do that? When are we going to do that? Huh? When? When are we going to do that? But the other side, the Gambia do. And this is where the problem is. After the Gambia do, we've seen all this. We hear from the president. President Barrow Mila Famole. President Barrow Mila for Gambia Dungule in 2016. Because there will be no president, Meminanyim Bango from Kotange, Maya Longo is going to rule this country for more than 10 years. This was the statement of President Anwar Barrow in 2016. But Yangele, Gambia for Gambia, Wallahi Suma Wallah, and I believe in it. Gambia Dungulu, Dolfon Lemum Fola, Dolfon Lemum Fola Poshinoti. Dolfon Lemun, Dolfon La Poshinoti. Because Alajel, Alami Alabi Mahoy, Alakalef for Mahoy. And Wallahi Suma Wallahi, Gambia Kada Banku di Banko Meya Lonko, at least we believe we have about almost 90% Muslim. 90% Muslim. Or at least 90% believers. 90% believers. Those who believe in God, Allah. 90% of us believe in Allah. We might have different beliefs in prophets, but 90% of Gambians are believers. Saying, anung, in the kitabul bekono, in all the books of believers, ekatandi jeko, faniyamu fennet meya lonko, alaman la fala. God. Let's not talk about the prophets now. Because we, at least Gambia, 90% of us are all believers. Alaman la fi menna wala nyinduko. Alaman la fi lahido, kan lahido ke, imanna lahido nyintimman. Alaman la fa. In both religions, you dino better alaman la fi lahido tinyala. Alaman la promise and fail. But wallahi azim, let's go back to the history of the Shahadas. The Sahaba la history to. Let's go back to the history of the monsters or the kings. Alaman la fi nyadon kola meya lonko abuka anno abuka bara la kuma kawala. Alaman la fala. Nyadon ko no. Alaman la fala. Ala fe nyadon ko because Khalifa ala ye tombong ayeke mol nyato ni ala ye tombong ayeke mol nyato. You have to be the sample of those people. You have to lead them the right path. But ni atara ala ye tombong nyote. Ala ye tombong ala ye ke jawol nyato. Pure mara o jawol la. Yo jawol silola. Silo me yalon ko wolem eden nasiraat al mustaqim. Silo me yalon ko wolem silafilin dumut. Ala ye tombong ala ye samana dunya kono. Ala ye fisam fisandi wo jawol beti. Ala ko yo jawol da yetlin silo kam. Ite kana ka siyo jawol nyato ka tawfo me yalon ko ita baralala. Gambia ite no jongol takiti la ila yawm al-qiyamah. Ino jongol takiti la ila yawm al-qiyamah. That brings me to President Barrow. I think Gambia jongol la promise. Wala nantaka kukil na pomole ko. Wallahi, nde, lada kukil na wala nyindu ko. Kaje ko President Barrow manta lola jan tata mte my belief is this. I am ready to fight against it in all angles. Because mbekelo kalala, because nadino le yamarala. Nde. Nadino la ya marala. Nadino la ya maro betaba ka wala. Wala atinna molmel ka fuko. Mo man yanna ka mansa against. Mo man yanna to go against mansa. Bari dino e milafo ni atara mansa e sila ke me halon ka dino manta. Dino e milafo to. But dino e milafo moto mobe ya lonko abuka bara ala foka wala. Anno abe jongol ñaar misil mayaye almamo kuma yandile misil mayaye almamo kuma yandi bak ako almamo me ya lon ko atambi dal ñaato misil mayan ko wala foyde almamo men baade ñaato fil mel de koma na sujudi dal be sujudi lale na ruko ke albe ruko kelele na wulta lo dal be wulale lo misil mayaye wala fo baade na tre baade ñaato baade na baade ñaato albe talo ke kam misil mayaye la ñaamen ayanda ka la wala ñaama bari misil maya ma foko nin atara almamo nyanda kata anyanda ko ruko ke atara ko sujudo ke misil maya ma foko albula no mo sujudo to misil maya ma fo albula no mo sujudo to bari misil maya me folo nyanda ko ala ten bendi misil maya ma foko ali batum ko nyaato de misil maya ya maro bendi o wato la je ala almamo ni hakilo bulandi ala tandala ko abuka kiten aka kiten misil maya wala fo misil maya ma foko I mean nin lo sabala mu fitrodi misil maya ma foko ala ko lo nani misil maya ko nin alma boya ken do nani ala hakilo bulandi ka tan dalo ko ay fennati na salo nyun ko menen misil maya o bek anu misil maya ma foko ali bodu fasal ko ala faade ani de salo kono ala faade jeto salo kono misil maya atandi salo kono bato wato ala tanda misil maya wala bar ni watara mol be jamila lonko wala le dino karang wala le dino long wala le dino fam ya ka tan min don la isina jang ya hakulu bendo fala ko tanke o misil maya ya maro man saka wolo nyindi ko yetare lab don yetara na don don nyaato yekarande ku kendo wala yetara kera balu sone andiye yetara كسلو تنجل سلو ميالون ولم إدنا الصراط المستقيم bari president Barrow le entollahi president Barrow ko me sanji sabala kala jang ako sanji sabo nyim bandula na karre payo kumandila karre payo me yalon konte man ta lola je wo sanji sabo sita president Barrow ko sanji sabo nyim kono na lahido men diyalla ako wallahi do dilaido me yalon kon ta timmanelo san teng kadu nyanda ka nyin nake odombal danna pour aller bulanira sanji lulu pour na lahido melkin so lahido ñu fanta timmande gambien ko yo fanam bulay gambien ko yo fanam bulay ma keloke ya muta yen soron wallahi lazim wo soron diro me yalon ya kenna natala with good faith because kukli lata wala nyindu ko ate president Barrow ndana te na laido men ke banku dungulla na men fa banku dungulla in 2016 I was I mean I am proud that ko muta back to banku dungulla kan pour ka je ko laido nyim pride kimma o do fen de alo ko no lo ka woni aya tinna na men fa banku dungulla kabrimbe president Barrow ma ko prime man sa ya nana lo dula ta jele kiti tende ni wo jon dungul tema ko tanke fa jarta ne fa na la ka sola and new come 2026 also, inshallah, lata nyina ko, mbe kafula alala jon dungulma, mbe kafula alala jon dungulma, mbe president Barrow nyinin kala, mbe tonya folae, katandi president Barrow ko, itele ya fo janko, mbe maralo menkela de tambla sanji sabala, itele ko nabule sanji lulu keta, inata na, itele lo katwe fayola, sanji tan marajang, itele ko men sata sanji tawo marala nyim banko kanjang kotenke, itele ya fo, mbe lo lembe nyinin kala la, niyan sorong, ila yawmal kiyama di kilo tata ni kiyama. Niyan fa, yawmal kiyama ni sa kiti, ndala lankang muwal, ndala ta wala la. Niyan fa, yawmal kiyama ni da kiti la, because mambo yi kan menen metonye ba ila kuma kan ne sendi wala kan ila wala ko kuyate ina bitan kan e sembo jayin kan yen sorong sembe me yalo kun tele adila yen sorong sembe me yalo kun tolle adila bar yen sorong sembe me yalo ko sembo me longo ya miro nun tele adi fanna waya treta ma di fanna banku dungle ya sika yow sembo nyindi de la mr president sembo me yalon ko nadila yo sembo ta ya IGP sombo IGP me yalon ko yela bari musolo sika ya diala pour aya futu aya ke musoti yo IGP fananta ya sindi yela sembe kilo me yalon ko nadila yo sika ya di IGP fanana abe tilimbal ya kantol Gambia de wala abe tilimbal ya kantol Gambia de wala abe Gambia de wala right taka na batinaka Mr. President Mr. President. So we are determined ko Benjamin Kala walale. Benjamin Kala walale. Wallahi sima wallahi Benjamin Kala walale Mr. President. Because the one thing to wala we cannot allow this country. We cannot allow any leader to go more than 2 terms in this country. Na wala kele for sanyi muwannin fula ya jambe benun jang wala ya tinna me wala ya tinna ya jambe na mulfa. Kame man sayala wala ya tinna ya jambe na mulfa ya jambe le sanji tawra kala sanji tamni luluto ay momen fa wala siyasa ka tammi watila tumuro millere ya jambe kan president Barrow ya jambe le sanji tawla nyato wo sanji tawo nyato ya jambe le sembo men soto wala siyasa ka tammi Gambia be la sembo kadu utumo ya tara ya jambe aginga sojarol kono ay sojarol la sembo te bulo kono ay police la sembo te bulo kono bara ay banku dum fo la sembo te bulo kono la Mr. President ite ko Gambian ko lita bula yow sembe si basu ko de Gambian ko jumala with right consent ite sonna ka president Barrow bula pour ay sanni tanni lulu man sa anyim banko kanya Gambino mi ala ko right consent e Gambian me yalo ko anyim banko kanu iman tara kanyim mira kensenke ka foko because of tamu nyina karu nyina dimbela kanyina. But Gambia no Mayalongo, Ilatoko, we have to make sure we free our country from self-perpetuating rule. Wala sinante mande lata nyinako 2026 adama baroga bolenyi masakundato. ana mabaro la masa kunna be banna jande 2026 nta taala nji kitab inshallah ko ala beter lam fele barim be ala la fe annu ala beter lam fe dama do wolo nyinde ko ala betan do kala president baro la ko semmo benta ala la bulu nda ala la de sindi annu nta ala la fana en koy ko Gambia dungula fo ñu wat karing bali ko tambita watola yenda ala dani pour na la faro ke da ala ka la fa bar nda ala fana be la mansa dan na jang nda lata wala ko ala bo kala comme 2026 ala be president baro la mansa dan ala be tar la banko dungul fe ala be tar la toñatiol fe ba ala be tar la mol fe mel ya lonko aka sembo dini wala la pour ka mansa tombon ala be tar le fe ibe adama baro la mansa ya banna adama baro la mansa be banna nyim banko kanjang mol mel ya lonko ibe kafru adama baroma ife go sembole bela ibe banko dungul toñela ala be wanyar la comme 2026 ala be wanyar la ala be la palaso tale bulu ala ulungo ibe lola iba foloko aday no iba foloko ninte ya lo num wallahi ala ka tulanyum fole all the time jol mel ya lonko ibe dunia kono num ye banka ala batu ye banka ala tentu ye banka ala la mansa sika ka diala tumala be ya lonko o jongol nyul fata yomal kiyamati o jongol lebetar la sere ka fa ala ko ninte ya lon num tumala be ya lonko be dunia kono be sonno ko mari ta kering amanke da Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dammat o mol mel ya lonko be president baro bala o mol mel ya lonko be nim president baro be nakri nyola o mol lumbe sila ibe sila e ba folo ko ninte ya lon num melo la num mol le fe kunum na to nya fa sa ka ala to nyalla tumala me ya lonko sembo me ya lonko mol ya sika ya di president baro la tumala me ya lonko sembo banta tumala me ya lonko president baro man jigi soto ko ronge tumala me ya lonko president baro be banku dungul dan na ka ko aliyam funye na findi na si banku do kan sa be fla banku dungul le bulu fo ba bulu la finti ban fota bulu la finti o lungo bulu lu me ya lonko be sila ala la jondi ko korontole bar lunta kela dunya kono lu me ya lonko be sila jondi ko koronto to nyaw nyama ala be nyul lungo sindilal anu nyul lungo sita o lungo o minister o lungo o IGP o lungo o CDS o lungo momo ya lonko ya mi rondum ko sembo betle bulu o lungo ala be sembo nyun tale bulu ala be sembo di la jongol mel ya lonko wolle tamu sembo nyinde ala be sembo di la jongol mel ya lonko ala ka dinu wollal keke mol mel ya lonko walla ka president o tombon walla be kala mol mel ya lonko wollal ka wollal ka ila sembo ta ila nafulol ta ila energy ta ye banko yayi ye diamu banko dungule ka fo banko dungule ko nyilem banko la kayrodi anu nyilem fawd me ya lon ko amanke banko la kayrodi wo luwo alabe lola la alabe kijo tela tonya tiwol nim fanya tiwol temal wo luwo utemela ko daga insha Allah wo luwo utemela ko daga wo luwo utemela ko daga wala tin nan taka men fo gambe dungule kukilin dorom benya da kasika mira wala ite me ya lonko ibe nun kelo kono ite me ya lonko ibe nun diaspora ite me ya lonko you were in Senegal ite me ya lonko ibe nun yayin kan Africa dan wala katu man silo sito no kananyim banko kanjang ite kenni wo imira bang ite man silo sito no kananyim banko kanyamin mollele la haddi mollele la balwodi mollele lota kalo ya jami natlu wala ka bala yaji mamajin banko kanjang ka katofa yaji mamajin banko kanjang o dolu o be kedun tumula menna bari de kendo la fe mira fanan lume ya lonko yaji me bolajin banko kanjang ni da sile ye mira ko funding ko membe ko tuman o lungole ya muta ya fa o lungole ya muta ya fa ya boni nyim banko kanjang o tuman what was the crime of tuman because meneketa iko tuman nyol ni la molu wolele registration o melia lonko wolle be nun APRC la bureau do iko 300,000 vote ni ko wolle ya jandi wolungule ye tuman mutay tuman fa bari te me ya lonko e mantara nun jang nka kandi lele mol melia kolya kolta pour ka falwo keno pour te murna nyim banko kanjang wo mol la kelo mun minati wala nyinde ko mansa nyim banko kanjang ka tambi sa tanji tawala mansa nyim banko kanjang ka tambi sa tanji tawala minati nan kawfo go pour semboni government kama wala nyindu ko pour semboni ngafo do na kama nim mansa sembo warata jondingolti o mansa ka tulungo jongol lale mansa na sembo warata banku dingolti mansa ka tulum banku dingol lale be kelo kelo wala man la wala la tele mansa ya lon ko atamo banku dingol la do kula to net la tele mansa ya lon ko atamo banku dingol la do kula to net but mo sise na lon ne me yatinna itarel hanyi kasi television do ka kuma fo me ya lon ko amenge to nyati ka kuma fo me ya lon ko aman sato ka kula bodu tula kan kuma ka me ya lon ko amafo wallahi lazim bari ibafo ka mina kama ka dibe pala solte kani bondi damendo ali yalo ko ni mod sita kilo ñu lele president baro lahi di ko anin saba sanjala dibite o wala le president baro lahi di ko do accountant general ni ba bondi la di auditor general sa bondi no na samana na nene yake minister lokum kile lokum fedo ya bay to lek ye president lahi di wala e ma keno bi metembo mento president baro be parerin kadre mo site bondi abe minister ya pala so mento pour ka bondi je ka bondi office of the president mu oto ka sama minister of trade bari ata mo site amalla be kada minister of trade because ayaje ko mu doyale tata kan ayaje ko mu doyale tata kan because akle mata minister libera ni ajibe ye pala so menya minister of president I mean minister of presidential affairs ye pala so men diala minister ya pala so men babulu and the chief of staff palaso men babulu atayamu ko ni ata bondo palaso do mu doya ta kan andum wala tonti me alon ko wala be silo kan nan wala atinna findita nan akanaga sidin jay defend ka findina kanaka damba sabali defend ke ba men ko mo sise kallo e ka hani kallo television oto e ka hani kallo ka kawla non jonju wala ka kuma fa me yalon ka mafo ka kuma fa me yalon wi fu yalon ko kare diamu tal ay men fo mol bala mol ya la moyle bari ta kanalo kafo nyala nyame ya lonko amari mafo nyama because mena kan be palaso to palaso me ya lonko ya lonno ko kane bondi palaso nyintolo ya lonno ko kane bondi palaso nyino de fe ko palaso nyi lire bondi je ye doyale mu doya palaso retite wala tinna bi ni watin be finti kan wato wati e ko ka president baro defend pour be palaso mento akani bondo palaso nyinto but Mr. Monsite, I am telling you that ko ibe palaso mento ibe bola jele because President Barrow have already made his mind that you are going to leave that position because already kiti bongoto benyaaje ito fota jele ko atol tano sudo itani ala dibito ni altaro ni yala pour ay song president la po mino nyina but funding ke woni man song president woni na po mino nyina so Monsite, you know the damage you have caused to the president. And you are like President Barrow be bondilo palaso nyintole. But what next do you want to do? Ole nyintoko to be his watchman, to be his dogo, to be his, I mean mouthpiece. That is why you went and put such kind of allegations to a very decent person, a man who struggled very hard to make sure there is change in this country. Mo be alon lo abol ture we kata ko men kenyim banko kanya mo be alon lo abol ture we struggle men kenyim banko kanya jumala mo lo abol ture struggle men kenyim banko kanya jumala ma long lo abol ture bata men kenyim banko kanya the struggle he have done in this country jumala mo lo abol ture I mean he was a magistrate romati but jumala ba folo ko lo abol ture is not a disciplined person jumala bo folo nyim banko kanya Kolo an president bolo for the hangila kalo kafoko lawyer Boluture is not a disciplined person. But because men can only go the information I mean because he's a lawyer and we know all your plans. Unless you want any person may along is fluent, any person may along Kawama and Mulba Lamoela. The moment those people will die with President Barrow not a third term is a problem. And I am telling you, now the most Molmeli along Moli along them back will let it finish the President Barrow not a third term. We are going to stand Kajako, you are not going to third term. And we will keep advocating for this. Nobody can stop us from saying this. But if somebody come from already because I couldn't finti. I couldn't finti. I got Moloko ha, Boroko President Baro Bama Fudu Mobile. But that is true. Mobile Fudu Mobile. You understand that? Ikala Kapniko, Ikalo Nyana Kapniko, Ikla Bafu Debat. So Borila President Baro Bama Fudu Mobile. Well, how can you take that one as a problem? How can one use that one as incitement of violence? Mother will use as incitement of violence. For you might have son that Kabako, Karla Bafu Debat. You understand all? You understand all? Mole Tombo. Mole Tombo, Mole take President Royal. Mole President Akede. And the Kabako, so they should press you, but those people should never be pressed. What is that? Minimum insult to, minimum incitement of violence in that statement. Minimum, what is incitement of violence in that statement? Let's call it spade a spade. Let's go into a legal term. What is incitement of violence in that statement? Jumala Bafu no more about him Banko Kanja. You understand what? Who, Jumala the Sonna, Kapoko, Waka Loina, Kapoko Mbala Fudu de Bat. You call them Bafu de Bat, simple. But is that an insult? Is that an insult? Because Moriya Mempo is very simple. But your only problem is the third time in Moriya, Mori being a lawyer, Mori being a very informed person. I third time Kumo Mempo, Ole Adimi, but not the word Kaboko for President Barola Bafu Dolbat. No. That is not your problem. Your problem is because I can bear willing the law. Bear willing, bear the law. Kajako, President Barrow is not going to go to third term in this country. By all means. And that is quite true. I stand by that word. And that's why I say I endorse Morila Menoni. Because President Barrow are from Molia. But it is a lie. Nobody is going to serve third term in this country. It is third term. And you want me to keep quiet about that. So, but near rank and file, maybe a rank and file like me, then therefore, I mean, that it becomes a field. But because Boriture being a lawyer, a very strong lawyer, a very well-known and household name in this country, Boriture left in the Africa, not a third term. President Barrow B, Jimmy Katami Mobile, because they knows what is going on. B, then Kuala Gamma for Gambian Kola to that level. Wallahi, I am telling you, from a credible source. Gambian will be in infinity and bear social media. Bear doing social media, because no third time to President Barrow. Bear no muta, Okan. Bear no muta, Okan. No, let us not look at party interest here. But bear no muta, no third time for President Barrow. No third time for President Barrow. Bear one voice muta jang, Nimbango Kanjang. I am telling you, Bill, wala call out President Barrow e katami fongo bear. Billahi abanka chahan. That was the reason Itanakatawa NPP didn't want to recruit Kesamanam police. Because they know very well. President Barrow ya SONKO I don't make a Gambia dungula. Wala I don't you look the seal a Gambian call by Nyan Kala. Ko Alaba Nyan Kala Yama Yomal Kiama. I long. But I'll attack a police all use. But what I think I see it sitting with someone at IGPD. May I long I have bari musola di wala. I have bari musola I put in the way. I was someone I keep IGPD in Bango Kanjang. What kind of nepotism? Namino mo Ali Yajamana Yajam Namino mo Yajamana Mansayat. Namino mo Yajamana Mansayat. Kabitan Saman Kapalato dia. Kabitan Saman Kabitan IGPD. Namina mo Yajamana Bango Kanjang. But Jumala okay President Barole Bo Sipal Kanjang. President Barole have Barindum Konoto. I have only governor, I have governor, I have only governor, I have someone, I have a minister of works, I have a minister of environment, minister of forestry and environment, President Barolo in Bangkok, don't let him Kuno. President Barolo, okay, follows, Alasanji, I okay, follow, Sanjita Okon. Actually, I'm a Nina Sanjita and Ludi, President Barola. At the Momo Diata, Ala Sokon, Momo Diata, at the Gambia government, Baro government. And the Gambia government kele baro kunda government. Because I don't understand. And those people many along ko wolle ba bala. Many along ko wolle the president baro bala. Well, come for you, will go. Well, the moment they can secure their position, it's a kodobo no masakunda ko ita bunja ulo, ita mudo bal sang, ita musu bal fudu. Well, they care less about Gambian will be any sovereign movement. They care less about that. They care less about that. All what they care is ito letter of masakunda kono. President Baro letter ko kodo, President Baro letter bula ye bula na kodo kono kana kodo spend the way they want to spend it. That's all what is their influence. They don't care about the separation. Gambian Kulu Bidaka Mena. They don't care about the back of right, Manmoto Mujalledi. They don't care about Sukurumoto Mujalledi. They don't care about Gambia Jungle Sotana Bimeli Alongo. Kabin Somanda Man Fendomo. They don't care about that. They only care about their position. They only care about the vehicle they are going to drive. They only care about the car, the house they are going to live. They only care about the luxurious things will be but they care less about the destruction Gambia Bidaka men. They care less about the destruction Gambia men face come. That is the fact about this country. No. They don't care about that. If President Barrow can take our government money to give it to a business, to his family for a family business, in his 10 years of ruling, if that person has to go 15 years of America, if President Barrow can take our compound, come on, keep justice la boom, keep justice la corona, President Barrow say Otano, in 10 years of ruling, as a same Otano, to keep justice la durata, Kajeta, Kakala family property, Kanya Pomola. Wallahi, President Barrow in 15 years, what do you expect from him? Gambian for Gambian Cole. Hello, the Gambian for Gambian Cole, Gambian for Gambian Cole, Ninga Atala Faniala, Lafunya Fanialam, but in can no men for Gambian Cole. Then la politico che la fagnati, ben la politico che le tornara kan hak. Tornara hak. Hak. Neatara. President Barrow said do la keep justice la corda ta no. Keep justice la corda. Ayata, first of all, sanita marolokon. Sanita marolokon. President Barrow sa abanim konotota, ayake minister. Sanita okono. President Barrow say, President Barrow say, at the phone, a bari muskoto ka siga kadi mola, kanao marito mon kake mola police la kuntu koti. Sanita okono. Actually, I'm nim President Barrow sanita ni lulu. Abe minakela. Nada sanita ni lulu, abe minakela. So Gambia is not about me. Gambia wolam ninduko, Gambia la saman kawolepo. Gambia la saman. But Gambia wolam ninduko, Gambia po wala daha. Gambia fongo daha. Alko kana dunyola. Alko alam do kuma finna fala nyimbanko kanya. Nyimbanko, there is a bit there's a problem there alongo we fail to accept wala nyundiko. Mol mele alongo yo le fa nyimbanko kanya. Billahi intala nyimpale. Nim president baro muru back to this victim and any president menna da nyimbanko kanya. O victim mol mele alongo they struggle so hard to bring the change in this country. Anybody may along you came to this country. In a banko kanjang. As a leader, imam you don't imam moro victim all kan. Yeah, na fita wallahi jim banko la program ko intelligent file ala sabe. Any leader menna dañu banko kanjang imam victim all na fita. Imam victim all na fita mol me yalon ko e baba ñol fa. Ila mol filta ñim banko kanjang me na fita. Ñim banko do la the same program ko you like it or you hate it. That's the truth. And I keep saying this. Any leader, Mansaw Master Nathan Banko Kanjang, Molman Yalon ko yellow bon Banko Kanjang, Molman Yalon ko ye fanyim Banko Kanjang, Molman Yalon ko yapitel business or Kanjim Banko Kanjang. Molman Yalon ko be the searing. It may a farmer know the kunu, the video of American Durucham, and Durucham family. Adimuso do be ya call at a man karam mobang, at the Homan man karam mobang. Those victims are there. And those people, they all die because they want to change the system. The bad system may along with Namol be Fakang, Namol be Filikang, the Brekan Namolka, the Yapinka Kekan. wo masa kunda mol mil yalon ko le fekko masa kunda dan nyim banko kanjang ya batal men soto ya ko la pol men soto billahi masa kunda na dan nyim banko kanjang e ma wol nyaajo fita nyim banko kayro soto la nyim banko kanjang. I will say this and I'll keep repeating this. Ha. The victims fanyo wol nyaafita. Ha. The victims mil yalon ko yelo bon dan nyim banko kanjang. Masa kunda ma wol nyaafita. Wallahi, Cairo the Sibling Bango Kanya. I mean, one back for everywhere. And I'll keep saying it everywhere. Nimbanko la Kolia. Look, Presambaro, and I keep telling you this. That when you follow the old Danko, Nimbanko B, Presambaro, it is the house of Nola. It is the house of Nola. Another Gambia gold bail for you can wallahi small Presambaro. You cannot have an it is enough slips of Nola. You cannot have it is relaxed lives of Nola. Because the problem is, in a series more yellow can. Ina sirin molla hako kan wolbe sirin ina bataring iman domoro fo domoro ke ba fomo domoro ko you care less about that for the leafy bungol ko ba fomo the leafy buko you care less about that wolle fañul fata jang wolle fañul badata jang ni tilimbali abeke na wolle alfala jim banko kanja wolle le bata beso jim banko kanja Mr. President but you care less about those people and ita ko yamela kairo beso jim banko kanja abe koloko moye keloke abe koloko mol la korda nye pengi mol ene nya pi la korda kan itana ye prepare ye keloke foye la korda sedo ye keloke foye la korda sedo ye la korda nyun sedo sai ye men tom bom pra ke sutio ti la korda nyun kono o sutio nyin wayna e tol besiga e be bayo korda nyun kono ko danke o sutio does not care about I mel by Koran kono wila either they live in either the land lasso of form land lasso either for the most of form the most yamero suitio me ya sindi je o suitio the Cairo sodola when at any mel be kelo ke pro Koran mun family din kamo when all those people are suffering this is a simple terminology this is a simple thinking wala mol mel gamu mol go politico se fanya fono politico man sula fanya la politico is about fact political is about Tonya. Political is about haq. Political is about haq. Political is about ye Tonya ko. Ye tempo membe caring. Political munguleti. Mume kama muluka political is fanya for lisi that no. Political is about fact. Nunko na daha. Nunko na banko ta nyado. Nunko Tonya sabat na banko kanjang. Wallahi suma wallahi ngam memfo mo jang wala nyinti ko. Gamen for Momo in Banco Kanya. Momo Yalong, ite mari, you have consent. 11 in Banco Tanyado, or President Baro Nyanda Kabole. 9 years in power, President Baro Namnanta and the victim of Jibe. Mulmelialongo, Willel Samuel Fata, Willel Borsan in Banco Kanya, Willel Tlimala Bay Face in Banco Kanya. Sandy Conan, the President Baro welcome Mansala, President Baro Namna Sumolo, Willa Sabbat, Willa Dinkado, Willa officer. Sandy Conan. Sanji konondo mulmel yalon ko wollel famanyol fata mulmel yalon ko yo ko be ka wollel nyim banko kanja sanji konondo president baro man ta kawlu jibe president baro bule la play no la jang sinya fula abida senegal mulmel yalon ko wolle badara no senegal la kelolto wala celebration no nyik sinya fula president baro bule la play no la jang ade minister fandi la play no kono ibe be jola padiya mola mulmel yalon ko anyi wolle tan nyola mo kilin masakuna do kula men na jo data be kono Tili, e ka mari jo dalasi wulitang anin sailor. Every day, $18,000, 200 pounds. 200 pounds. Momo bula na presa mbaro noma. Na grata ikejo wolela. Na ni banko bula lungulung ayela band. Lungulung til. Ikejo mena. Nothing less than the junior staff. Nothing less than 200 pounds. Nya falin Gambia kulula. Aman doya dalasi wulitang anin sailor B. Dalasi wultang anin sei amon doyala president barola bobo nyim banko kanya fintita ani momo tada tilo tili na doyata ike jo menna abuka doya dalasi wultang anin sei la president baro boda jam e pleno luas ay mul fandi pleno kono atadaka Senegal la victimul Senegal la mol be badala Senegal la kelo kono mol be badala Senegal la struggle kono mol be yalonko Senegal be yalonko e batata in the struggle Senegal ngol ka wolta ke celebrate to la victim ol mel ya lonko e be jang sanji konondo mel ya kelo ke pour ka jako ka tajirante ya masa kula banyim banko kan jang kaje ko aldul mombori kaje ko diaspora ko kam burna nyim banko kan kala ke niji kaje ko development ko nyim banko kan jang mol mel yo kelo ke minal nan sanji konondo de president baro namine celebrate president baro never even visited them sanji konondo nyina yanda ka nafulo men di la pour la jaralo president baro we ban fombe bi men kono a man son ke jaralo ni fo ka nyam but the worst thing is president baro be yaela akabe campaign wol akoto be mid people told la al yalo ne ko president baro na la molu e ka kodo e ka chekol men di musol la mitin blalindo musol tara ka chekol ni withdraw ko chekol e ko kodi man tara jali wol na ba al yalo ne ko president baro nyole chekol men di musol la birkawa mitin bla jang e chekol men di musol la ina bank le pour kam chekol ni ka withdraw ka kodo withdraw wallahi e man e ko chekol ni bounce ta fare wol na ba chekol ni bounce ta ni musol be toya fola musol be yalon ko chekol ni dila e findina yako wallahi american gambe fotak makan talen talo fo musu kapol soto da musu kapol mel yalon ko itana bank e koy ko kodi man tara account on billahi wallahi tallahi sankal alal ha especially chekol mel di brikama SSP ye chekol mel di brikama SSP musol ñu tara bank ye chekol mel di la tara bank ko chekol ñu sen man tara account on ha comme yaje so comme ni masa kunnabe balu kan ten ni masa kunnabe gambe no fildi kan ten bar ni masa kunna ya ndiro num atebe tula gambian ko tala kawon nakari anu gambian ko le sowal mbadu wala ni ko awara ba that is the kind of government we are having this is the kind of government me ya lonko abuga tilling gambia de wala abuga tempo gambia de wala memu tonya ha ba wallahi suma wala ndewre ndaka ful ha minister fanya ni bende specific ma fole yim be fa nga tonya wallahi suma wallahi ha minister lo platform to jang nin sa sino radio don kafu kwa nga tonya wallahi nin ni benda na time to no ka ko yim be fa nga tonya billahi wallahi ma fole yim be fa nga tonya ha because lo ta bandala na fa sikene mamoy asigame mamoy but nin ni nyanya nyonya na fo e fo nyala ibaje lako hakata ter la ni tema ila yawmal qiyamah ha hakata ter la ni tema ha ma fo le ko yo men fo wulu amanje tonya haka wallahi hakata ter la ni tema ha tumodo maybe nin si la television o si dalon ko kare nyim men fa manga tonya maybe mamoy but nin ni nyanya nyonya face to face and I have the access ka fo billahi mbafole kare but nyim men fo jana manga tonya among the and recently, one or two ministers, the same thing that I told you. Billahi, what I told you. That carry but even for Jalan go, yemen for no, yemen for Jana, I remember for Jana monkey, and then he accept. He accept. Dokumakil level Jole. And no Gambian do, left a Kumakil for Gambia do. Wallahi, Sima Wallahi. Ale don't believe dunia kon ale da lumeng akobe fala lumeng afere tege memba sineta fala wulula ale dolda ale wolda nyina kama ko ibe fala banko ila banko ka keloke ka tona fate la banko ka wolbe fala woldo anu senta tinna wolde fala wulula nyindo afere tege amor tege atem mantarje me atina wolde fala wulula nyindo ka ale wolda ko wol nyanda ka fala wulula hetu ah ale wol da ko woni ka faaw blaldo ale ya dale ko dolu beje wol foye sorong iba wol sorong nale pour la banko e bonde andu wol titala foye faay ma wol sorong pour la banko e bo ala dar yimbe ala dar fende ko be ka fanya do ala kala masa tombo damento ala ka saya fa dan biala jowo kam go nyama ka ala ya be sa fele kum fa yakun ala sembo jonna sembo man tambala ala la sembo jonna sembo man tambala wala doga be kade go wallahi suma anka kuma kila fale amman go komen ka go kare halitale aban ko men kare ka silale aban ko men kare break tele bar kukil na baje ibe lara ta alalla ate alalla ko yella ko atele mu Allahu akbar ti ale bu ate ale be lara tulala ko atele man sabame ya longo atele tembo wota jogo beti ba atele man sabame ya longo ko be kila ma atele alo ko jomo jombe banna lungu men affaire de jomo a docteur man daraje afem ko man daraje afem man daraje jomo be ya longo ala ya da ko karle ba fala to kariyo mari fa o kari fanan ala yin da ko o kari me ya fa ala abukla ala bulu o kari yin fa da kitiyola fati da kitiyola yimbe ma ala da fenne bar ku kille fanan be ala ko jomo ye fa ma koy ha ata ala fanan de ay min tan di jomo nyanta ye fa ma koy ha ye fa ma koy nyaaji ye fa ma koy nyaaji jomo jang ibe fa ma koy la nyaaji e se fa ma koy no nyaama wolo nyindi ko yebula to nyaanoma ni bula to nyaanoma sa yi manya na silala isa sila fenna o isa sila mola me ya lonko amari man killing amari mu kalabante wodi amari buka to nyaako isa sila o jongola ha kar wo mu fennati me ya lonko o mu ala lafi balif ala man lafi wala ha bayite membe laarun to nyaakam ita me ya lonko yeji ko be sambar ala la kam ita kam mina sila e kam mina sila jongola jongo me ya lonko aka mem fa buka bara wala e kam mina sila jongola jongo me ya lonko abuka to nyaako ita ka to nyaako mina de be sila lo jongola ita ka to nyaafo mina tine de sila lo jongola bar wallahi no jongo fana yeta yetlim balya ala jondu do dala newul ma ala ala jondu do dala momo ye wol tilim balya wallahi ala buka sokonota pour ka wala kelote wallahi ala wol fana de dal ala buka sokonota pour ka wol fana kelote wala tin ndaka mem fo mo lolu ñu ko jonkana to ñero ala min to ñer land ala nin toñer lande bar ala nin jongole men da toñafo ala nin jongole men laata hakla men laata toñal ala nin jongole ha ha bar kana toñeroke jon kana toñeroke ne toñeroke wallahi ala nyande ka sembo mel da ta ka le koma ala bo sembo bo le koma ka ala man lafi ala jongole ala man lafi ala jonduma ya non jondimo toñe ha ala man lafi ala jonduma ya non jondimo toñe ha bar ala tala nim jome ya lonko atakabbula alala kibarulu alala yamarulu atakabbula wolle noma minatina jihadul sotota mina jihadul sotota minatina jihadul sotota minatina kafirul ka wuli ka muslimul attack minana muslimul ka wuli ka kafirul attack mino soton ko nimmo mo ka fa mole ko kamansa kamansa amin kabula comme kamansa agents ko mu fenet me yalon alama dande ya bondi mun tole kar faraun ñol fa alala ma sembo di faraun ñol ata alala sembo di faraun ñol la bar tuma dalum alala takaw sembo ta faraun bulu ala sembo sig adi jola be ya longa wala fanam fi samante ande ka tammi faraun ala sembo sig adi jola be ya longo ay wala fanam fi samante ande ka tammi awole fanam fi samante ande ka tammi faraun bar lonnal sina na so fanam ha lonnal sina nan lonnal so fanam fam wole no abir sinare lonnal so fanam fo no wole faraun na sembo be al faraun ka tamo sembo men be la dem ala sembo ala adi barkabri ala sembo diala ala privilege diala ala fo be diala faraun ya muta ko sayen kay atelem fo beti fakalo akabu ana rabbukum ala akalo aya fongolondi ala la palato to suma wallahi alonda frawun ma jeel ko sembo be jumale bul ala ya ala sembo be ta bulu ay sembo di ala jon dim dola wala na ka frawun ma saya ban aba amasura ha wala na ka frawun ma saya ban wallahi lasim frawun nyul enilo kelo be frawun nyul nilo sembo be ala wala sembo te bulo ko ala ya ala jon dimul ta ay wulindi ha ala ya ala jon dimul ta ala ya ala jon wulindi ay frawun kele frawun nalo sembo be frawun nalo sembo be frawun na sembo banta frawun na sembo be tumunta abe jumala abeke abe ala la abeke femma beke na mak alat so to sembo be ala la bulu ala lem sembo be ala lem ko be andu kukin dran wala ya fendi me ya lonko gambe di mo be nyanda sila yambe andu lafta korosi lal be korosi be gato si fatam fanso na politiko kono asembo wara kam baake anu meyatina o meyem teddanwa ko kono wala nyindu ko mol mel ya lonko wala be si fatam fanso nyin mol mel ya lonko wala be si fatam fanso nyin escalate kan that one escalating it be we are all in social media modol be je tonya kom amanga fendi because of karnyol munyi si karnedi wala tin ne tonya kom akan silam back molu malaf ka tonya molu malaf ka bula tonya no ukan silam back ukan silam back tribalism member no because cooking never people don't want us to address this and it's better we address it these are things me go funny address you know call it we must address them perfectly because you learn call it wala ben batande kanyum banko kanjang you learn call it wala ben banko murunde kankoma and some of these tribalists they are so tribalist they care less about the future of this country at the end of it whatever happen here they run and leave the country in a problem many of these people engaging into this tribal politics they have a place to go whenever Alman Sangala any problem happens in Banko Kanja they have a place to go when others do not have places to go. But they care less about the future of this country. They care less about it. And realistically, they know very well, because they have no love for this country. They know very well, they have no space in this country. But because Allah has given them the opportunity to live in this country, today, now, il a fait que tout il a fait que tout le monde bancola. Il a fait que nous bancola sovereignty in Takabetina. Let's call a spade a sport. Let's call a spade a spade. But young we don't want to talk about this tribal issue, but we have to talk about it. Tribalism, look, ni ya jambele meobe nola jang tribalism. Ya jambe jang akam fale akanamul ka fili paka afongo badi mul fa. Afongo la badi mul ake fa. Balawo be kering, balawo membe be kering amanga fendina amanga si patam fansut. Ha. Ya jambe ala fo si juma la nyim banko kanya ya nyim man siyo men na mufa. Si juma la nyim banko kanya siyo men ya lonko. Iman tumiro ko ya jambe la mufa le. Si juma la nyim banko ala fo. Ya jambe jang nyim banko kanya al surwa jumul fa. Ay man ninka jumul fa. ay fula dumul fa ay jola dumul fa ay manjak dumul fa nyim banko kanjal jumala ba ko ko yaji me mel fa nyim banko kanjal tu lo me yalo bi balande kaka the allegations on Yajembe for the amount of people like Mel Fajar jumale si jumale exclude toto si jumale exclude toto si jumale daman taroto the school is paid is paid. But because of him content because of tribalism, that was the only reason. Huh. That was the only reason. Nimbanko made it in the hands of Yajembe. And the same thing, the same thing will be trained to answer. See Padam Fanso, your content more Gambia as our country. And we must see this country as our country and fight against injustice. That is the only thing. Wallahi, summa wallahi, mentioning Banko Sambon forward. And we must address it. We must speak about it. We must speak about it. Tribalism. Si Fatam Fanso in Banko Kan, Nim Mansi, Nahani Haklola, na unite as one force. Najeko, the future of this country, Muntoli. We are the future of this country. But because Milakada, ye tonyaje, ye hagje, ira suokono, ifama ko itanin karunyul. Itanin karunyul. There is someone, Namari Benta, Billah. This is a very shocking thing. Ngaya ko, Mekataka, akonyo ko, itondi nanto akonyo ko itondi nanto fire. Non fire. But so unfortunately, Amari Montelonga, I have to, Amari Malong, Amalong in Onyam. So, Ngaya ko ndeto musiri voldi, SONKO. Akonyo ko silvo SONKO ngaya ha. Akonyo ko eleboda muntole. Ngaya gonte, ngaya mboda balibule. Akonyo ko afo SONKO balibule, koyanga ye SONKO balibule. Ngaya although our origin is new. Akonya okay. Akonyo ko bode mu SONKO manin ko liba fo SONKO jola. Ngaya ndam SONKO abelt. Akonya okay. Akonyo ko bode pati jumala ngaya ko ntebe UDP. UDP akonya because ngaya tondi akonya ndeto mu karleti. Akonto mo fonyi. Kabra akonto mo fonyi. Ngaya go bana ngaya bodo mundu akonya mbodo nyi la kare. Akonya mbodo nyi la kare ne. Ngaya go so vestere mundu akonya vestere nyi la kare. Sa yin nyi nga la ko sono mene pati jumaldo. Bana ngaya fa pati jumaldo. Akonya ko ndebe NPP la. Ngaya NPP la akonya ha. Akonya ha. Ngaya go so why you are not in NPP? Why mantra UDP? Akonya ndola siyo ndolbuka UDP support. Life. Akonya ndola siyo ndolbuka UDP support. Life. Anyela foi. Ama fanyo ndola siyo come ndolwi never go against government. Akonya go ndola siyo ndolbuka UDP support. Kar UDP movement ni kapati yol. Yes. That was his statement. Ito siyo aman siya ito siyo man siya Gambia. But I would like to akonye plane. Akonye ko ito siyo ito lubuka UDP support. Because UDP movement ni kapati yol. Ame mabamba fong. Ame mabamba fong ade. Wallahi lazim. Afunya ten. So kabra afunya si da namira. Si da namira. Nko atolo ko UDP movement ni kapati yol. So let's say sa ne asa man min ko fanam be ibe kaf da nyogan sai. Man dun ko sai okay bayre ko UDP movement ni kapati yol. Sa o mar ndo fanam be ta UDP. surwal yelo e ko PDOIS mo surwa patiolti o fana be ko mbardol be da PDOIS serakule yelo e ko bakile mo serakule patiolti e ko mbardol fana be da serakule patiolti bakile patiolti fulo yelo e ko mama kanne mo fula patiolti e ko mbardol be ta fula patiolti manjako yelo e ko hendi gomesi mo manjako di e ko mbardol be ta hendi gomesi la patiolti o surwal yelo e ko etafal mo surwalti o to mbardol be da etafal la patiolti sign no okay the sign who is going to be the loser. No can decide who is going to be the loser and who is going to be the winner. Neatara was you at a mental funyo to buka it'll become manding called support. And it will let you know because of unity manding a party of the world it will become manding called support. Sa neatara manding call fanambeko karin bal nyulu ko to la kafo mu kafo do la kafo mu kafo kafo to man taw support la o sa mbaru do fanambe kafu nyoka na kafu bamman nyolo say Yamira is going to favor. Say Momo policy or say Momo to say Nakado for an SU Male. Yammer say Gambian bita. But Yammer say Niatara, see Ku and Taro Mala say Momo move a battle, say coming the way they're trying to identify. If the more identity can yamming, Niatara Combo Karajan B. Badwood. How is this going to work? Man ko be ka funyoma ko sa to tabu to lam nyina mun to lam man ka patio surwa be ko nyina mun to la surwa patio fulo be ko nyina mun to la fula patio wala na kodul be jaka dimin bakele kodo be jaka dimin bakele we are all one family ndollel intermarriage ndollel damal fu nyoy ndollel damal fu nyoy ndollel damal fu nyoy intermarriage intermarriage yes ndollel damal fu nyoy because what is actually happening in Bango Kanja, we need to be very careful about it. Nyanda ka haklu tije bas. Because right now, we must speak out from the diam. And in travel for Gavako Babula, no, you have to speak about it. Because Amanta Mapela. But it is only going to divide us. Because the realistic thing, to never diamond to all of Minduko, to never all of Minduko B, more Jama B, or B, so many plus. Tinko, an MPP Mufula Patio. Ha. Wala mo na ko MPP Mufula Patio. Mo jama ba beje dole beje wolu if NPP support the mental NPP support can thank them because of they feel like NPP full party. Likewise true. There are others many along goal for like UDP support like UDP money party. That's quite true. And we have to say that too. But nka men for all you to go where you want left table. Where you want left table. And dole beje they only making themselves as a straight to enter a pal because they feel like enter a pal musurwale. They feel like enter a pal musurwale. So bari like imaya media amukaida that from Mohabal de Lamba imaya ataka memfo abe memfo kan ninte yafo sa ko silvo songo fele sa abe tribalism la ati fele de aba safela ati fele abe safelo kela abe UDP 2 mila ha But Ninta Afu B, Akoha, Ego Silvo Sonko is established. But for Nyefo, Gambia, our problem, we must speak about our problem. What is the problem will for? And we must all understand what is the problem of this country. In Bangola problem, for now. This Mua Baldefele. And when I start this live here, all the negative comments, more Malayalam to the several occasions, and they are writing a lot of negative comments in the comment over there. If they attack them, the UDP attack them, if the nonsense follow, look at all of them. Ali Bejibe, Jumal. And when I was fighting, when we were fighting, ka Adama was coming on Jamman Sala, it would kill Lelo, the Adama woman in quality. Yeman Kabula Adama no. Some of those fullers, Malayalam could be, they're taking Adama as their property. And they think it only flare can ukata mintola. When my mother made the wulu is a fuller. What a flare it my own mother made the wulu, what a flare it made the wulu, what a flare it But somebody made Adama Samakananja, they yam in Mosong Adama support. But we all seen it. Let's go and look at the data. 2016, the other way than they are given. How Adama will win? Adama election will win the Let's call a spade a spade. And we must talk about this for the info. For more than you do, I info. You do, I intend there and you say, for now. For yes, the truth is true. Nimman Tona for you and Menora Hakole Mala. Billahi wallahi tallahi. Because Nimman Tona for go. Banko to that blood. Banko to that blood. Allah for you done. Let's call for your Donko. Let's call a spade a spade. I don't know about 2016. Ala wino be abe wino jama abe kada dami do wolo nyindu ko abe kada dami do abe kada nyim mande nga sade balle 2016 mabo ko mande ko to na fayde but 2016 let's go and look at the data ala wino dama kada dami do many of the places melia lonko many of the places melia long ko large number of people living in those areas are mandingas I don't know winter or 2016 I'll high winning, I'll high margin of winning. I should have started a little. I'll high number of winning. I should have started a little. $2016. I don't know win or bay. I'll win by bay. May I win in Bangkok and down to become the president. Ajama bay. I beg in Mandinga Saturday ballot. Without no respect to the fullest. Without no respect to all the tribes. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. Well, I'm told that I know. Wotonya muna to buy no. Wala nan san hakilo du ba na siko landi almalen tanga sikelola almalen tanga sinyo doyala sinyo doyama beta or alnan daha sikola let's talk about the things melia lonko wala min banko wala funko and we have to be very frank here also in 2016 menun janne ma fokan ha ya jambe ka jolata aka wala samana aka dun sojariya gol ya jambe ko jolata aka wala tammi sister dinkral in 2016 that's the truth wala ka wala ka whether it's true or not. But welcome. But now we are in 2025. Many of the protests, Gamel Beji, Jumal Kelly, Jumal Kataraji, who are the faces there? After fulale. Tell them because we must speak the truth. Huh. We must speak the truth. Huh. We must speak the truth. Huh. 2016 jang dolle ka safe along gambe no ku kin lebe jango mbe to nyala pola banko nyeta banko nye develop billahi wal mbe to nyala pola banko nyeta nda nyome kumbe pola mbe to nyala pola nyoe let banko eta in the right path ndebo hey to abudu me yalon ko mbiro jumping to abudu me look ye to nyala fo nyoe they fought very hard. Huh. Ye kele bala ti nyoe they fought so hard. You turn up on your face, your conference on command. They speak truth to each other. And those countries start moving, developing. Ye momo la hako diara. It was not an easy thing. It wasn't an easy thing. But look, Senegal, the same thing happened. But what happened in Senegal? When Usman Sonko came, Usman Sonko, Yemileke, started like Usman Sonko ta, started like Usman Sonko ta, Usman Sonko karkacho, Usman Sonko mujola. And they start looking at Usman as someone Meya Longo is working with the customers MFDC because of Usman Sonko being a Jola in Senegal. They want to discriminate him. But what happened in Senegal? Senegal Siruwalu, Senegal Sereyolu, Senegal Fulolu, Senegal all the time Tolu. Those who are wise, the capital Nyoma, Yajeko, these people are using divide and rule tactic on us. They are using divide and rule tactics on us. Yes. That's what they were using on us. That's very simple. Senegal Jolu, they They really understand what was the fight of Usman Sonko. Minam Usman Sonko the fight. What was the mission of Usman Sonko? It was, and the mission was to have a better Senegal. Forget about these people, Melia Lonko, forget about the guy, forget about this from Muha Balde Lambang, forget about him. I don't go to MPP the platform to insult the okay. So if he is in my platform insulting, saying all sorts of things to us, Allah Bula J, that is how they are. So this Mohammed Balde, Allah Bula J. This guy in 2016 when we were fighting to bring Adam Barrow into power, he was not part of us. Kabimbe Adam Barrow samakan na fonko. Amantara nungkan. So nimbi, we Adam Barrow la pito ka la fonko bala. I mean, forget it. Alabula je, alabula enneng. Alabula kumo be from. I'm not gonna insult. Ndara nendro kala. Because imanta kunu nendro la. Ndara nendro kala. That is not my way. Umakentala silodi. So alabula entenneng. Ha. That shows how NPP is. That shows how these people are. That shows how they are behaving. Kadalum tolga keloke. Adama Barrow someone to make Adama Barrow the president of this country. Actually, it will Yeban. It will Jamal Yeban. Ma foko. Kadrim da keloke ka Adama Barrow someone fulo mantaraje. You know for Nafanyala for the Nungo fulo da mantaraje Nafanyala for. Nungo fulo da mantaraje. Wallahi Nafanyala for. So let him keep insulting. Let him do anything. Let him write all kind of rubbish he wants to write. I'm not going to block him. Da block la. Yes. Da block la. Because if you see is here, maybe nakuma kaunyi wala man diya. Sabejan just because what he want to distract me. But you understand no ntaka tonya ala for anu tonya mesa bad na wala ka. Tribalism wala benyi banko ngunu kan kom. Si fanam fan. Mole tonya je. Moli along dumal le tonya kan bari la feke bam e man le kambula o mol noma because nakata iko ha wol musio menti ha iko malato sion. That's the only thing. But you know they are the right people men go tonya be wol because nakata iko ha man nin ko le double le noma sidwal le double le noma manjago le double le noma fulo le double le noma. That is the problem of this country. Amember come and be Gamben will be near Momo Nimanka, Motin Banco Kanya, even those who are starting President Maro, Motin may along to 11 President Maro at that time. I think it. Momo along to Gambe Banco, Momo along to Gambia, Motin B may along to 11 President Maro at that time. But because they are serving him, they are serving their own interest in his government. That is why they want President Maro to go to that time. COC, with consent, Yalong B. Purim banko ita nyado. Purim banko development sego. But purim banko do anyo sego banko kanya. President Barrow, no president. Either President Barrow Lambang, or President Dabo Lambang, or President Sise Lambang, or President whatever Lambang. Nobody should rule this country for more than 10 years. Because that was what we fight. When I tell you, Nayajama fight men, my Yajama fight Ninkama because of Yajam is a Jola. My Yajama fight Ninkama because Yajam is a Fula. My Yajama fight Ninkama because Yajam is the tribe he is. That was not the woman the original man in the Yajama fight. We were only fighting against Yajame because of the kind of governance men carried in Bangkok. And Yajame was supported by every tribe. Yajame was supported by every tribe in this country. Yajame so many apart in Bangkok. But now Kalo, Alcabo Mandinkolu, you can't move money capacity. Sanding Mandinko Milano can be other party or Mandinko from Bekoha, Baron you can do Mandinkola, Madam Bekapo Patio, I have a Kalanadi. Suruan from Beko, Baron you could Karamus Suruad, or a Madam Bekapo from Masai. What is going to happen in this country? Or Alinanda Hasi Patam Fansola, Landa Bankoje, Alanda Bankoje, Alanda Conantayala, Alaton Nabula Tona Noma, Tonado, what is in Banco Samanonado. Tonya dong wala bin bango sambala nyato nimmambula tonya noma wallahi summa wallahi azim nim banko nim sitala nyato nim bango sitala nyato nim bango sitala nyato ha ite muhabalde imagine you keep repeating. Because UDP mo man ni kapadiol. Nimbi UDP ko lo da jan banko kanyan bi. Because man nin ko be annala la UDP support. Bayring ni Muhammad Balde me ya lon ko fulole mo ako UDP mo man ni kapadiol man nin ko al be na da UDP support. Al ko ha man nin ko fele tribalism. Al ko UDP fele tribalism. Bali tele fele ba ko kanjan ko UDP mo man ni kapadiol. Ha. But nimbi UDP ko man nin ko da dawdan ni UDP UDP is a tribalist party. But I told you like a doom. No can Alcabo Yoko. Alna Nanim party current support because you patio Muntola patio. You patio Muntola see patio. I told like that. I told the light of you people. But Gambians will see the truth. Well, as in SONKO, we will speak about it now. For the Tonya. More bodies, no more the son of more tuna more in Bangkok and San. So nyana de fola momo ye komolonne and momo you must love yourself. Ita manni ka korra ko jan ita fulota la futuro dulalito. Ko man siya mandinga korra ko ila wuto iman fulo taraje iman surwa taraje iman jola taraje iman sero taraje mandinga korra ko jang Gambia jang o man siade likewise ibida fula korra dum falon kono iman mandingo taraje o iman surwa taraje iman jola taraje iman sero taraje nyim banko kan jang wallahi o mo man siya because we are intermarried. We are intermarried. We are one family. We are intermarried and we are one family. Like I said, the Bama is Dalogeni. My sisters are married to Jolas. My blood sisters. My brothers are married to different tribes. Libongos. Some of my families are married to Manjagos. Saying, you want to call me a tribalist because I tell you the truth. You want to call me a tribalist because of my belief. For UDP or for other political parties. But now, the Mandinga in NPP, it all called as a tribalist there. Or the Fula in NPP, it all called as a tribalist. Or the Surwa in NPP, it all called as a tribalist. But the Mandinga in UDP, it all called as a tribalist. It all called as a tribalist because he is supporting a party Mayalong is led by a Mandinga. You call him as a tribalist. But now, we see Adamabaro as a Mandinka, and the Mandinka supporting Adamabaro because he's a Mandinka. You don't call those Mandinkas as tribalists. But now, the Fullers supporting Mama Kande because he's a Fuller. You don't call those Fullers as tribalists. But a Mandinka supporting UDP, you call that as tribalists. Mandinko me ya lonko, and the UDP support kan, you call Mandinko mu si padam fansilarity. But mandingo me ya lonko abe anabaro support kan anu anabaro mandingo ti al mafo mandingo ko wo musti patam fansiol ha al mafo mandingo musti patam fansiol ti but mandingo me ya lonko be you support kan because of dama mu man ka UDP ke o mandinga demolti al ko musti patam fansiol but mandingo me ya lonko abe anabaro support kan e mafo mandingo musti patam fansiol. But fulo me ya lonko ada ano baro support kan because I feel like fulo le ted ano baro masa kunda kono ima fo fulo ko imo ci padam fasil but sulo me ya lonko ada ano baro support kan because I just amadin su wale ano baro masa kunda kono ima fo suru wa ko padam ci padam fasil. That is the problem about our country and we must speak about this nim man nim fo me plañum ko yala kono. But overall we are one family. Overall we cannot divide and rule. Divide and rule will not take this country anywhere. Kantala. Mansanada siri nala peka me akan menka wala nyindo akan tala into siolity. Akan tala siolity. Akan talan mansa. Nim mansa labta kamul tala. Nim mansa labta ka banko ta advance ta banko la wala nyindo ka banko tala siolity. Aka si ba tala divide I see no tie dividing I da mal bi minyola nim mansa lafta ka comme kamara bankola media kan and that is what is happening into our country. I wish you all learn from that one. Time of Banda is almost 5 o'clock inshallah. Be dan la jam inshallah for wadi ko de time of Banda but comme na même for inshallah wati na kacha especially on Sundays minale nale kacha some of the current issues all but be comme na kacha ke dan men wala ñu ko the Modou Cissé o Modou Cissé me ya logo wala president wala chief of staff ki ay boru tura la kuma ka momenta mu wece ko ay falin nara ko senani mul maka fa fa ko sa silani ala temola abe kuma fala so ko mola kuma ka woni ba falin na ise yilla ko yomul qiyamul ala be kido tela damal temale to tambaro illahi do men gambe di wala ko sanji sababu la marala andu mota masa kala nyim banko kan nyanka tambi more than 10 years la o 10 years woni wala kana si andu gambe no la taka fildi ka tandala ko a 10 years la fo mole inshallah ba make sure o 10 years la tambila wala inshallah da kato kala ka fight against it kaje ko atalo la karte fa wala nina kelo ka wala ala tanyo waya nyama bari men kuma dawlo nyindu ko kaje ko president baro ana tara aya fon forcé la aya tembo nyi jaay na je ko nin karte fa aussi na sikana bondi no fanan kacha na dia mulu kono na bi anin na fen kacha me ya lonko mbelo to nya kan nyame ano anama dum fanan kana silang ni silan da fo silan tambi mo doron e ka sembodi molla me ya lonko e sembodi atala wa mari ni mo hamu do ko fongo be mata taji ora silan ko fanan dan dulala sedo nselani na ko fongo be alala bul ila ala man saba man kallanke aslam modi me ya lonko aslam mar fongo be la oɗon bafulale ko ɓe programme uji danna janna bi dimanche o kan bafulala ala barka bake kuma kan wolem na siyatale bari inchallah mi atara na fewo fen fo jam bi isnillah na fen fen fo jam mi ya lon ko anin toñamanta o mumtolla adamadiya nasoledi na fen fen fo jam mi ya lon ko wolani soaɓe tata ñoola wolani silo tata ñoola momo alala ma koyrotinto jondigo kan ana alma o kuma kan o dunna joni sonnomo kono ton fe ya lon ko ate dunna jongol sonno mo kono doron inchallah alma ala ya bondi alma ala kana to fe yalon ko ate ala jondol nafala alma ala kana ala kana o gefende me yalon ko way dum alma dum sonno mo kono ba to fe yalon ko be jondol nafala inchallah alma ala o dundi be sonno mo kono wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa ta'ala wa barakatuh